Namaskar, friends. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the state of flow. The word flow has a very specific meaning in the realm of spirituality. In the realm of material world, flow uh, means anything that is fluid or capable of moving from one place to another. But in spirituality, it transcends the state of movement to the state of perfection. So you can consider flow as a component of God. So as we say, God embodies perfection. God embodies Karta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. So he's the doer, the enjoyer, and the controller. So those are the different manifestations of God, and one of the manifestations of God is flow. So flow determines, or should I say, flow embodies, demonstrates perfection. The There's a difference between perfection and balance. Now, to the common eye, balance seems like the state of harmony and the um, state of attaining the middle ground between two negotiating parties. So don't do too much of this, ati sarvatra varjayat, too much of one extreme and to the other. However, perfection doesn't care about your reference frame. Perfection will go where the uninhibited, the unmitigated truth lies. So you'll understand this better if you understand the difference between gunas and gunatit. The gunas can be tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. And sattvic is often said to be in the mode of balance, in the mode of goodness, in the mode of light, in the mode of knowledge. Now, gunatit, which is considered the higher level of sattva, is not in the balance, is not in the mode of harmony, is not in the mode of mediocrity between the two balancing acts that you do. Because gunatit doesn't care about the reference frame that we people and laden with ego are trying to attain. Because gunatit is a logarithmic or exponential step ahead of sattva. If you look at tamas, rajas, and sattva, they are one above the other, and those are modes of levitation towards spiritual attainment. And gunatit is like 10,000 steps ahead of sattva. So you cannot compare harmony, balance with perfection or God-like states of flow. So that is the first understanding that you need to have about flow. Flow is a state of perfection, a state of purity. Flow is a state that is transcending sattva. It transcends harmony, balance, equiposition, equanimity. It transcends every single descriptive term that knowledge and verbiage can provide us to understand what is considered good state. So flow is not just good. Flow is greater than good, and that's why it's an exponential logarithmic form of better attainment than what sattva or goodness can provide. So that is the first definition of flow. The other component of flow is that it transcends the material world. The material world is composed of space and time. You need some activity to unfold in some space or desha, and you need a time when that activity series of changes are occurring. That's how karma unfolds. Karma has to unfold in the realms of state and time. So that's why Bhulok is a great place to act the karma and destroy the karma. So the state of flow transcends the boundaries of state, space and time, desh and kal. So when you are in the mode of flow, you will lose track of time and you'll lose track of where you're situated, because flow kind of overwhelms the mind. It is an expression of the soul in search of the super soul or Paramatma. It is the state of Atma going towards Paramatma. Now, there can be a lot of different states of flow. As I told you, flow is a state of purity, perfection, unmitigated goodness, greater than the good. So, Roger Federer playing tennis is the state of flow for tennis. Sachin Tendulkar batting, that is the state of flow of cricket when it becomes God. That's what the god of cricket, the god of tennis. And similarly, whoever is your favorite person who is totally dedicated to his field and doesn't have any other thing uh, that is diverting his attention and mind, those states of focus are considered flow. The third characteristic and the last characteristic of flow is that it is always, if it is towards attainment of something, it is always in the state of mono, a monologus or a mono, something that is singular that you're trying to attain. Now I'll come to explaining why it's not always towards something attainment, but rather enjoying the attainment, like dhyana and siddhi, so dhyana and samadhi. Because in samadhi you are in the state of siddhi, you have already attained, but dhyana you are trying to become a siddha. So that is why the state of flow can be towards attaining something or only attainment. But when it is towards attaining something, which is what most of us in the Sagun Brahman are going to experience, better at tennis, better at cricket, better at education, better at innovation, those things are going to be states of dynamic flow or states of flow towards a karan or a cause. And the cause is to make that game that you're playing better. So now that you know that flow is about perfection, purity, it transcends the goodness of sattva, the balance, harmony, equiposition that sattva can promise, because it is an exponential expansion from the plane of sattva into the plane of gunatit, which is transcending the sattva, rajas and guna, tamas guna, because gunas are tying you to the earth. And the third thing, that it is always mono, that is, it's always toward a singular goal that you're trying to attain when you're in the state of flow. Doesn't always have to be a goal. You might always be enjoying in the state of the relishing the goodness of that goal. So those are the qualities of flow. Now let me give you some examples of flow. The simplest example that comes to mind is that of a glacier melting to form a river to meet the sea. Now that is a state of dynamic flow. I will make the distinction between static and dynamic later, but just understand that a river flowing to meet the sea from a melted glacier is an example of dynamic flow. Now, dynamic flow is when you have an ulterior motive, an objective, a commitment, a motivation, a determination to attain some goal in your life. And that is the state of dynamic flow. Most of us in the Sagun Brahman are going to be attaining dynamic flow, which will need to be a monolithic idea, a monolithic objective, a singular goal that you need to attain when you're in the state of flow. Now, another example of flow is when you are in dreamless sleep. So, distinguish it from the dreamful sleep. The dreamful sleep is the inferior form of flow, if at all it is a flow. I don't quite think it's a state of flow. But the dreamless sleep is a state of flow, because I told you, you lose track of space and time when you're in the deep sleep. The dreamless deep sleep, like an infant sleeping, or when you are what we call in sleep medicine on a polysomnographic or a sleep study, you can see when an individual is in the delta stage of sleep, the N3 delta sleep, that is a deep sleep in which you lose track of time. So when you sleep very deep, if someone wakes you up, you cannot tell what time of day it is. You cannot even tell where you are sometimes if it is very deep sleep. And that is the beauty of flow. You have totally lost contact with space and time, because space and time are tying you to the material realm. And this is the realm in which there is a lot of problems that can happen in terms of creating karma and then experiencing the effects of those karma. But in the states of flow, you have gone beyond the realms of karma. That's why you are in the state of purity, perfection, God-like state. So a dreamless sleep, a river flowing, and also let me give you some negative aspects of flow. A negative aspect of flow would be any new addiction. When you have a new addiction, you will also lose track of space and time. You're totally into honed into that kind of thing. If you have learned a new video game, then you're playing that video game all day and night. You totally lose track of time. If you are into drinking wine, you'll totally lose track of time. Similarly, when you form new relationships, if there's a lot of chemistry, then you are talking for a number of hours, and then you suddenly lose, oh, track of time is lost. We were talking at midnight and now it's morning. So these things which where there is a single minded objective and you are kind of chasing it relentlessly all the time, losing track of space and time, are states of flow. So that is a negative. Any new addiction, gaming, gambling, trading, your forming new relationships, sex, these can be states of flow. Even doing drugs, they are states of flow. So that now you see how, that's why God, when you say good and evil, if evil is extremely pure, it will be very powerful. So God is Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara, which means He is the doer, supporter, controller, enjoyer. The fact that He is enjoyer, He has to enjoy sometimes the goodness and sometimes He has to enjoy suffering. And that's why evil is also a form of perfection. We cannot call evil God just because of the semantics, but understand that evil is also a state of perfection. A person who is extremely evil will be very powerful because that individual has a lot of control over what he's doing and the number of different souls that he can control. You can think about a lot of evil people like Hitler. He controlled the whole state of Germany and created World War II. So there will be a lot of power, concentration of power when you have godlike states, and that is why in the state of extreme purity, which is evil or goodness, you'll have a lot of fan following, because there will be some souls which are in the realm of sattva or tamas who will be attracted towards you based on your predisposition. So that's why it's important to understand that there can be a positive state of flow and negative state of flow. Positive states of flow, of course, are people who are pursuing certain goodness as we perceive in the sattvic world, trying to attain some skill, playing cricket, playing tennis, innovation like Nikola Tesla, or there can be a negative state of flow where you're trying to be a sociopath, psychopath, trying to do something extremely evil because you are wired like that. For a better explanation. Now, the last thing I want to tell you, when I told you that flow is a state of mono, which is a single pursuit, like Krishna says in Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhi reke kurunandan bahushaka hentaj buddhayo vyavasayinam. A person who has a single-minded, a single focus, single objective-driven activities will be successful, whereas a person who is variegated, multifaceted, has multiple goals, will not be able to attain even a single goal. So it's very important that you have to prioritize and hit. There cannot be two priorities. Priority is prima, it's only one. And that supreme primal goal that you want to attain, you put all your energy in it. And that's why there will be unhindered focus. There will be unmitigated concentration, and that leads you to lose track of space and time. So my friends, flow can be passive or active, as I said. Active means you have some goal-directed activities they're trying to do. Like I said, Sagun Brahman, attaining these different talent skill sets. Or you can be enjoying that skill set because there's nothing to perfect anymore. You are in the state of perfection. Like if you're in the state of samadhi, then you're not trying to attain somewhere higher. Like Shiva with his eyes closed. He's in a state of flow. But that flow has already attained perfection. It's just, you cannot measure infinity. That's why the depth of the problem with infinity is it cannot be measured. So you cannot make a relative judgment that this is a more deeper level than the past level because you have lost count anymore. How absurd is that feeling? Shiva concentrating with his eyes half closed. There is just no way to tell if he was in a deeper meditation today than he was yesterday, because you're in the state of infinity. There is no base, there is no bottom. So it keeps going deeper and deeper, and the enjoyment is always there. So hard to quantify the enjoyment when you're in a state of samadhi. So that is a state of static flow, because you have attained where you wanted to be and you just cannot come out of it. You just don't want to come out of it. You will never come out of it, because once you break the escape velocity, you don't come back to earth. You're chained to this reincarnation rules, and once you attain that escape velocity, you're totally shot off like a rocket from the earth. It doesn't come back ever. So that is the same logic of deep meditation or samadhi, the static flow where you are enjoying the state. But the dynamic flow, you're trying to go there. So like dhyana, when we are meditating, it's not quite perfected, but we are trying to go there. So we are building the state of flow. To me, static flow, when you have attained the goal, is always the higher form of flow compared to dynamic flow. We are trying to attain something, but you will start feeling the same energy level, the emotional satisfaction that is there in the state of flow. State of flow, you will see the people who are driven by state of flow. I personally believe Elon Musk, when he created Tesla, was in the state of flow, because these, a lot of successful people you will see, like all the billionaires, they are not chasing the money, they're not chasing the profits. There is something inherent triggering creativity, something inherent creating the fire to create something. That's a rajasic force, of course, but it takes them gunatit. Here, the rajasic force is taking them gunatit. It's not going through the typical pathway of sattva, tamasic should go into rajasic, should go into sattvic, into gunatit. He just uses the force of passion to just escalate himself up in the state of dynamic flow, to create a company, to create an innovative skill, create EVs, whatever any great individual, Einstein has done, or other individuals have done. So these are Nikola Tesla for sure. These are states of flow in the human beings when their mind, intelligence is kind of coupled with impulsivity. As I have said before, you'll find a lot of people who are impulsive and they destroy themselves. You find a lot of people who are intelligent and they curtail themselves because they're in the state of wisdom, which curtails any risk taking. But when you have intelligence and impulsivity come together, it's like mixing oil and water. How often do they mix? They don't mix very well. But if you can find this dangerous cocktail of an individual who is impulsive and intelligent, then he will create cataclysmic changes in the world, for good or bad. Both directions it can go, depending on whether he is pursuing the negative flow or the positive flow. But when he gets there, there will be cataclysmic changes in the world. And that is how you know that flow has been triggered in that individual. So, my friends, hope you understand the state of flow in the spiritual realms, which is an unmitigated, unhindered, pure form of energy which is manifesting itself to attain a state of perfection. You can call it God, but it can have a positive or a negative connotation depending on whether it is pursuing the good pole or the evil pole of the spectrum of guna. And it is gunatit, which means it will start as dynamic flow, trying to attain something, and end up as static flow, end up attaining that thing. And it will be very hard to quantify when it is in static flow because it's in the mode of infinity. You cannot count it anymore. You can only count space and time. And space and time, if it goes beyond that, it becomes flow, it becomes a mono singular objective. And once you attain it, you are in the state of static flow. Hope you understood this concept of flow and hope you like it. Jai Shri Ram.